What's going on, my good people? Mike Hidalgo here. Thank you for joining us on another FCP Euro DIY. Today we're going to be working on a 2015 W205 C300. Today on the W205 behind me, we're going to be covering how to replace your engine air filter. This DIY is going to be applicable to all models equipped with the M274 motor. We're going to be using our man filter, which is available on fcpeuro.com. We recommend you do this filter every 20,000 miles or 2 years, whichever comes first. And with our lifetime replacement guarantee, replacing this filter so often is just a little bit easier. Now, before we get started on this job, let's take a look at some of the tools we're going to need for this DIY. For this job, we need two very simple tools. We're going to need a flathead screwdriver and a T25 Torx bit. I'm going to use a T25 driver. And then one thing I recommend, but isn't always necessary, is a shop vac or a small vacuum, as sometimes there can be debris in your airbox or in the surrounding cowl. You want to get that whenever you're in the engine bay. Now we know what tools we're working with. Let's go ahead and get started on this DIY. All right, my good people, under the hood of the C300, we're going to go ahead and get started on this engine air filter replacement. Our airbox on the M271 is located on the passenger side of the vehicle. So let's go ahead and get started. For starters, we're going to go ahead and start by removing our beauty cover. You're going to lift up on the front, lift up on the rear, and it should come right off. Set that to the side. Now we have better access to our airbox. Next, we're going to go ahead and work on removing an electrical connector that's attached to the airbox. To get started on that, I like to lift it up over towards us. You have a gray lock that you pull back on. Oh, this one's pretty loose, but normally it'd be sitting like this. You pull back on the gray connector, press, and off it comes. Just set that to the side. Next, we have two T25 screws that we want to undo. These are also captured on the lid themselves, so they're not going to come off all the way. I'm just using a T25 driver today. However, you can use a T25 socket on a small 1/4-inch ratchet, whatever you have. All right, so you can see they're captured in here. They're not going to come out. With those undone, we have a hose clamp over here that you want to undo as well. I'm just going to use a small flathead screwdriver to undo this. Make sure you undo it a decent amount so this lid has some room to come out. With that undone, you should be able to lift up on the lid, free it from the bottom of the airbox, give it a couple twists, and this just pulls right off. Now we have access to our air filter. Simply go ahead and lift it out. You can see that is quite disgusting. And very well could be original. There's our old filter for comparison, and right next to it, our new filter. So you can see quite the difference here. I also recommend, if you haven't done so already, sometimes you have some debris floating around in the airbox. Take a small vacuum or whatever you have lying around and just vacuum that up before you install your new filter. To install this filter, you're going to want to put in the same one the old one came out, the majority of the element facing down, your rubber seal up top. Set it in there. Make sure it tucks in nicely on all four sides. One thing to note, the airbox lid on the inboard side just has these two small catches that latch into the airbox themselves, so there's no hardware on that side. You want to make sure this is seated fully back in here before you add your hardware. And just like we removed it, we're going to go ahead and install the feed tube in first. From there, we're going to make sure it latches all the way in on the bottom portion of the airbox lid. And then we can go ahead and grab our T25 and get those two started. With that situated, we can go ahead and plug in our sensor while we're here. And then don't forget to lock the gray tab by pushing down on it. Just put it back to the side. And last but not least, we have our hose clamp down below. Again, using a flathead screwdriver for this. And now all we have left to do is to put our beauty cover back on. Beauty cover is just going to go right back on. You can line it up with the oil fill cap and the front of the timing cover here. Press it in, and that's it, baby. Overall, a pretty straightforward DIY on this W205. Again, applicable to all Mercedes with the M271 engine. If you like this video, please be sure to give it a thumbs up. If you have any questions or comments on what we did today, leave them in the comment box below. And if you like this DIY and you want to see more like them, please consider subscribing. We make new ones all the time. As always, thank you for watching. We'll catch you in the next one.